Thank you very much, and we're welcoming as a guest in the committee, but an interested guest, Mr. Crowley of New York.
Firstly, let me thank the chairman for allowing me to sit on the committee today and for holding this hearing. I come to this committee hearing with mixed emotions because I have over 105 families who lost loved ones on September 11th, and we have members of the Ashton family who are here today who lost their son Tom at 21 years of age. I also lost my first cousin, Battalion Chief John Moran, and I knew at least 7 people intimately very well. So I have, again, mixed emotions, but recognizing the need to hold these hearings. Once again, I commend you, Mr. Chairman, for taking on this responsibility. I have a number of questions that I think I would address to Mr. Shea, Mr. Corley, and Mr. Bement firstly. And one, can any one of you gentlemen tell me who was in charge of amassing the steel and other debris as a result from the attack of September 11th on the World Trade Center?
I'm not sure I understand fully your question.
In other words, what entity was in charge of collecting the material?
FEMA commissioned the building performance assessment team, and it was that team led by Dr. Corley that would have embraced that responsibility.
Did they determine which debris would be sold off as scrap? And if not, who did?
Yeah, I'll defer to Dr. Corley on that.
No, we did not determine that. That was determined, I understand, by the City of New York.
When did you become aware that the steel from the World Trade Center was being sold off?
I think it was on the order of a week or so before we arrived on site on October the 5th, I believe it was.
So in other words, the city was selling or was disposing of material within 2 weeks of the actual event, or was it prior to that?
It may have been prior to that. I'm not sure when the first decision was made on that, but I didn't find out. We didn't find out.
Were you disturbed by that? By finding that out? Were you disturbed to find out that the city was actually disposing of or selling off
we had
material?
Previously indicated that we definitely wanted to see the steel and select
Did you or did FEMA or any other entity actually ask or tell the City of New York to cease and desist from disposing of that material?
As far as the team is concerned, we made it known that we needed steel, and I don't have any knowledge that anyone had the authority even to ask them to cease and desist.
So no one even asked them politely to stop selling, but in all likelihood could be evidence, Mr. Anastani?
I believe I was the first one to find out that the steel is being recycled. New York Times reporter Jim Glantz told me 2 weeks after after collapse, and I tried to contact city, and also New York Times reporters tried to make sure we can have access to steel to do the research. It was not happening, and I went myself, directly contacted the recycling plant and made arrangement. Through their cooperation, I started work there and collected the steel, and later, 2 weeks later, I believe, ASC team came also, and they started their work.
Mr. Corley, you said that no significant loss occurred, or no significant difference, I think was the word you used.
Yes.
And any outcome would be determined by the loss of that material?
That's my opinion at this point, yes.
So you don't believe there was any material that was lost that was significant that day?
No, I really didn't say that. What I said was that I believe, or what I implied was that we will be able to draw supportable conclusions and analyze the building to understand what happened without the steel that has been disposed of.
In my remaining time, excuse me, Doctor, so my light's changing here. I just want to emphasize my support of what Mr. Corbett was talking about. I did not know that you were going to make the suggestion today, sir, of a commission. I was prepared to make a statement today that we should ask the President, as Congress, to initiate a commission similar to what took place after the 1983-84 bombings of our embassies overseas, the Inman Commission determine what steps are necessary to secure the existing structures, because we can't simply flatten Manhattan or any other major city in this country. We have to deal with the problem because we have major tall structures. But secondly, in the construction of future buildings and of future high-rises, that they be made with the proper structure that could withstand a terrorist attack. Let me just say, and Mr. Chairman, in closing, I'm not so sure that this subcommittee or this committee can actually get to the bottom of this, which I think is your intent. Although I think that your attempt is going to be admirable. I think we need to do more, and that's to let academics do this as well. But I do believe that conspiracy theorists are going to have a field day with this. They're going to make the Warren Commission look like a walk in the park. And that's unfortunate, not only for the members of Congress who are trying to work on this issue, but for all the families out there that are listening very carefully to what we're talking about today, what these experts are saying. And I just think there's so much that has been lost in these last 6 months that we can never go back and retrieve. And it's not only unfortunate, it's borderline criminal. Yeah. And I'll yield back with that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Crowley. And the whole purpose of this hearing is to get as much information as we can so that we can be